Hello, Smite fans, and welcome to week number 7 of the Smite Oceania Pro League. This is it, the final week, and with the final week comes the biggest matchup. I am Husey. Joining me for this broadcast is going to be Timmy.
This is going to be a monumental one. Right now, as we speak, Avant, Garde, and Direwolves have not dropped a single game against anyone else during the entire Oceania Pro League. Now they're going to face off each other to see who gets first seed.
It's going to be a huge game. These two teams
Massive.
currently stand at a 2-2 record against each other. Direwolves beat them 2-0 in a best-of-3 series at the end of the Invitational ladder. That forced a tiebreaker where Avant went up 2-0. Very, very interested to see who is going to take it in this Week 7 of the Smite Oceania Pro League, brought to you by Plantronics, Roccat, and Sandboxer. Now, speaking of Sandboxer, the folks over there have been generous enough to give us a figurine code available for giveaway today. Now, if you go ahead and type !giveaway in chat, you can see how to enter that, the details of which I'll now explain. Basically, what you have to do is take a screenshot of the first fire giant taken in each of our series. So there should be 4 screenshots. If there's no fire giant in any of the series, which is highly unlikely, you can just leave it blank. But the first person to send through all those screenshots using the !giveaway tag in TeamDownTV to chat will be eligible to win a code for a large Sandboxer figure, very similar to the one that I have right here. You can see this is Thor. You can get your name on it like I've got here. Very nice to the touch. Awesome stuff. We're so happy from the support over at Sandboxer. But without talking about that too much, let's go ahead and get into our picks and bans, Timmy.
Yes, first picks and bans of the day here. We can see that Avant Garde have already banned out the Alquan. They don't want to face off with that. It's too much of a risk for them.
They just simply don't want Chuck or Yada on that. Both of them are able to hyper carry out of their respective roles, jungle and solo, and it's a flex pick for Direwolves as well. As I said, since it can be played in either of those places, it's just a really, really strong god at the moment. It just puts out so much power. Even with the slight nerf he received, it's realistically, he's still in that top tier.
Yeah, the nerf that he got, basically the Dragon Call, where he summons the dragons around him, that got a slight buff, 5 power at each level. But the Wild Storm, where he holds up the sword and goes, "Argh!" That's the scaling on that was reduced, and the cooldown has been increased, so he can't do that as much. However, it's not really going to it's not anything that's going to put him down on the ground. He's still absolutely strong, so has to be banned out. The second ban from the Direwolves here is going to be Athena, another flex pick.
That's really strange to me, because Direwolves really value Athena.
They do,
because
yeah.
Richard Castle and Chuckles can play that. Direwolves really love their flex pick, but basically anytime you see Athena on Direwolves, it's going to be going towards Chuckles jungle, because he's able to just utilize her to her full capacity, put out so much damage, set up for his team. Just everything she can do. To see them ban it away is really strange. I would have expected them to ban away something like a Sylvanas away from the support role, because Biggie, the captain of Avant Garde, isn't playing today. Sporks has moved from the solo lane to the support role, and their sub, only good at solo, will be playing in solo, as his name would suggest. So Athena going to be banned away, and now our final 2 bans are going to be Ares, banned away by Avant Garde, respecting the Richard Castle Ares, and Bologna banned away from Direwolves. Makes sense. Sporks plays a tremendous Bologna.
Yeah, even though Sporks is in the support lane, Ogre, or only good at solo, we generally call him Ogre as an acronym. He plays Bologna quite well as well, as opposed to some of the other gods that he can play. Richard Castle's Ares is just, it's scary. He hits all the chains, all your health is gone. It's just too much.
Now we can see our first couple of Isis going to be picked up from Avant Garde. Sylvanas and Gibalanque picked up from Direwolves. So a lot of healing coming through from both of these sides. They've read up on the patch notes, realized Weakening Curse has been nerfed from 100% to 65% healing reduction. Isis on Ochita, this is one of his best gods. No questions.
Yeah.
This is something he loves to play, and it just works so well with his team, because not only will he be able to put out a tremendous amount of damage, he can set up for his team really nicely, which is something he likes to do. The Sylvanas Gibalanque pick, though, from Direwolves, big fan of this one. That's going to be their duo lane sorted. Just Laney plays a tremendous Gibalanque, and Richard Castle. I don't think there's a better Sylvanas in OCE.
Richard Castle is really absolutely potent on those Sylvanas pickups there. And the fact that they've got the Sylvanas Gibalanque lane means that Just Lane is just going to be able to cruise through the game early on, farm up where he needs to. If he needs help, hey, Richard, come here, I need a help. I need a heal, etc., etc. It's just a strong lane matchup. You can't beat them early, and you can't beat them late. That's it.
Let's go ahead and look at our next tier from Avant, and this is a combination I really like. Geb and Saket. Now, Geb is pretty much a counter to Saket. Picking them up at the same time is really, really good. Ro likes to play Saket, maybe not his favorite jungler in the world, but Ro can pretty much play anything. That's his god pool. It's pretty much anything in the game. Geb going to be going the way of Sporks in the support role. Obviously something he's not too familiar with. Geb is a relatively easy support to play. You just got to get him to that late game. His shields really need to be on point against Direwolves though in this one, as I have a feeling they're going to be rotating to that duo lane very often to pick on what they perceive as a weaker matchup. Looking towards Direwolves now, they're going to go ahead and pick up Janus, which is something we don't see Kikyomiya play very often.
Not all that often, but Janus is still incredibly strong. He's got wave clear, he's got mobility, he's got rotation, he has team presence. He's just such a strong mid laner to pick up. You can't look past it. Even with a full cooldown build, he can steal tremendous amount of damage with the passages and the threshold, this and that. Oh, it's just it's too much sometimes. Really
Looking towards our next bans, we can see Hades going to be banned away by Direwolves. They don't want only good at solo playing that in the solo lane. And then Avant going to ban away Hunbats from El Chuckles. Really interested to see what he's going to play, considering Hunbats is banned, and it's going to be Fenrir.
Fenrir, we don't see him a whole lot in the jungle. He is very strong as well. When people start playing him as a counter to Rattusker, they can't realize Fenrir's good. Can we play Fenrir more? Is that a thing we could do? Like, he's got a lot of early game presence. He does so much damage with the Unchained and the Brutalize. His jungle clear is... there's no issue with it. It's very fast, and then later on he can build to be a bit more bruisery, a bit more tanky, and be an initiator with the Unchained, with the full passive, stunning everyone, as well as a Ragnarok, picking up a high-value target and getting him out of position.
And as well as that, he can pick on the Geb early, which is something they're going to be looking for. Avant's next picks are going to be Osiris and Apollo, so Osiris going the way of the solo lane, Apollo going to be in the duo lane for subfloor. I like both of these picks. Ogre really likes his Osiris, subfloor really likes Apollo. Avant's combinations are looking really good, and now, here we go, boys. Final pick from Direwolves. It's going to be Khepri, first time we've seen him in competitive play in OCE.
So Khepri, he's new. A lot of people, they might not be all that familiar with him. Basically, he is a Guardian. He's classified as a Guardian, and it's going to be pretty easy for you to spot him out. He's the largest character in the game, largest hitbox, and he strives early on. He strives in the wave, he has good initiation, good poke, good wave clear, but later on, he becomes more of a moderator of team fights. He goes in, he protects his teammates, he looks for anyone who's trying to come in the backline, and the ultimate, the Scarab's Blessing, if you run out of health, if you die, you will be teleported back to Khepri with a percentage of your health. Not to mention, when he applies that buff onto you, you'll get power, movement speed, you'll cleanse all CC that is currently on you. It's a very difficult thing to deal with because you have to make snap decisions on what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And that lasts for 5 seconds.
His 2 is also tremendous. When you think about what it does in terms of how you can protect your team, this is why you don't see Khepri as the only... you won't see Khepri as the only guard in your team. While he doesn't provide a lot of initiation, what he does provide is he provides a lot of backline support. He's kind of the first true support character in the game rather than a tank. So what his 2 does is it gives you a 40% damage reduction at full rank. And it starts out at 20%. That is huge. So if you roll that over your backline on something squishy like your Jipalanke and your Janus, which is what the Direwolves have, that's going to be so much protection for them against damagey gods. As well as that, it can apply damage, so that's what Yard is going to be leveling first to clear the wave. And it does a physical protection debuff onto the enemy. So it's a really, really strong ability that does lots of things depending on how you use it. And that's what I think makes Khepri so special, and that's why Direwolves picked him up with the last pick. But now that the last pick is over, it is time for us to head into the game. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back, bringing you all the action straight after this.
The new high-performance Rig 500 headset from Plantronics is designed to match the skills of an aspiring esport player with the gear they need to win. The new modular system gives you the power to adapt, upgrade, and personalize your headset for the task at hand. The Rig 500 series of gaming headsets are engineered to deliver the perfect combination of durable lightweight comfort in an immersive audio environment. 7.1 surround sound and 24-bit audio provide a stunning 360-degree sound field with directional audio. 40mm drivers with low-frequency resonators provide crisp highs and boosted bass. Clear voice noise cancelling technology provides clear communication to your teammates. From the headset company that equips the pros, the 500 series was crafted to meet the needs of esports and competitive players around the world. The new Rig 500 series of headsets from Plantronics. Respect the training. Reactions win.
When the world needs conquerors. When being rare is not enough. And even epic fails. It's time to create your own fate. To become legendary. No matter what kind of enemy you face. Or what kind of game you play. You can become the craftsman of your own legend. It's time to create your own legend. Time to build your victory. Rocket Myth.
Hey there, Smite fans, check it out. See what Sandboxer's about. Print it, 3D print your favorite gods. Print it, Kukulkan to Sun Wukong. And try to collect them all. From image to the wall. You can even score your very own Thor. Take out a loan and order more. Print it.
Hey guys, welcome to the first game between Avant, Garde and Direwolves, week number 7 of the Smite Oceania Pro League. This is it, the biggest match of the split. Both teams undefeated through 6 weeks of competition, and it comes down to this to determine who is going to be the first seed at the PAX Regional Finals that will determine who goes to the Smite World Championship. Both teams have qualified, so both purely playing for that top seed for a favourable matchup in the first game. I am Husey. Joining me is Timmy.
I swear to God, if this ends in a split, I'm gonna be mad, because this is the question that's been burning on everyone's mind. Who would take out first place, Avant Garde or Direwolves?
And a lot of people have been favouring Avant Garde, even though that their captain and support player, Biggie, is not in this game. They instead have moved Sporks out of the solo lane into the support role, and their sub, only good at solo, will be playing out his name, and he's going to be playing in the solo lane. So, without further ado, Timmy, let's go ahead and introduce our team. So, on the left side of your spectator UI, fighting under the blue health bars, we have got Avant Garde, only good at solo, will in fact be playing solo as Osiris. Ro, the best player in Oceania, as voted by many, will be in the jungle as Circuit. Ochita is your mid lane. Isis, Sporks, and Subfloor will be making up your duo lane as Geb and Apollo.
And find out the right side of your spectator UI. On the top side of your mini-map, we have Yada in the solo lane as Capri. Our Chuckles be running around the jungle as Fenrir. Kikyo Mio is going to be the god of portals and transitions as Giannis in the mid lane. And your duo lane is going to be Richard Castle and Just Laney as Sylvanas and Shibalonke.
So right off the bat, Timmy, I nearly called you Nightfall there.
Don't you do that. Everyone else calls me by the wrong name.
We can see both of our ADCs have gone for the Devourer's Gauntlet start, really looking to box with each other here. Occasionally we see Shibalonke with the Transcendent start. Talk to me about why you think he's gone Devourer's Gauntlets.
Normally when you go Transcendence, it's because Xbalanque can have a tendency to run out of mana if he uses the Branching Bowlers as his wave clear. Now that's often not the preferred method, as the Poison Darts as well as the Rising Jaguar is still very strong, as well as the fact that the purple buff with his auto attacks itself, by itself, is enough to do the clear out the wave. So the Devourer's Gauntlet is really going to allow him to box out subfloor and get into that more late game stance where he has more power, a bit more life still, as opposed to early on burst.
Let's talk about our junglers here, both of whom have gone for the red pot start. So obviously looking for some early aggression. I see that being more viable on a Fenrir than a Serket, though, who generally comes online towards the mid game.
Yeah, Serket tends to, wait around a little bit. If she gets a kill early on, more the better, hey, go for it. But Fenrir is just so potent early on, it's so dangerous if you go up against that Fenrir, especially if he has that purple pot. So, not purple pot, that's magic. Red pot. Brutalize just does so much early on.
Let's take a look towards our solo lane now. We can see first appearance in Oceanic competitive Smite, the appearance of the big bug in Khepri. We've got Osiris going up against Khepri. How do you see this matchup playing out?
It's very strange, really, because Osiris, he slows you down. He tries to get in close with the Judgment Tether and all the slows that he has. He just wants to keep you close, keep you hugged up, nice and snug, so he can wail on you. Khepri kind of does the same thing, but he does it in more of a disabling sort of stance with the Abduct. So, Only Good Solo may have a little bit more leeway. However, that Rising Dawn is going to be really potent on those minions, because it can give that damage mitigation to your own minions, as well as strip away protections on the enemy minions.
Both teams in the mid lane and jungle have hit level 5 now. This tends to be the time when both teams like to fight. The mid camps aren't quite coming up yet. Realistically, it's usually a rotation from the support player that gets these going, but both supports still just going to stay around in the duo lane, not really going to move as of yet. Do you think just the two players in mid by themselves can start a fight 2-on-2?
2-on-2, it's possible. However, there's a lot of control between those mid laners. Giannis and Isis will kind of cancel each other out, say, hey, I'm gonna fight you. Now, stop. Alright, sorry. It's not gonna be a whole lot without saying moves.
There's a Blink Cataclysm from Sporks in there, gets 3 people. El Chuckles in some danger here, gets quite low. There's the Darkest of Nights. Healing comes up from Richard Castle. There's the Circle of Protection from Machida. Great Wrath of Terror there from Richard Castle. El Chuckles has picked up subfloor, dragging him towards the tower, but he could still pay with his life. No, just Laney going to pick up first blood on towards subfloor, and now it looks like Avant, Garde are in trouble. Sporks extremely low at this point. Only Good Soul has rotated, dives onto Laney under the tower, and picks up a Retribution kill.
Retribution, oh god, that's just so potent for that first blood as well. Just really get your ADC ahead quickly and early, as fast as you can. It will help as well, because both the ADCs are going to be a little bit passive in this early game, as they don't really have any of that high burst, high wave clear.
That was a great rotation there from Only Good at Solo to disrupt. Dai was from looking for anything further, particularly towards Sporks, who was getting quite low, and as well as that, being able to pick up a kill at the same time onto Just Laney, who just picked up a kill himself, was pretty tremendous out of the solo for Avant Garde. But there's a Xbalanque with 1 passive stack, while obviously not going to be a huge difference maker at this stage in the game. That is 1 step towards getting him towards the late game where he shines.
The main thing that he's going to have the advantage is that early gold from that first blood. Going to be able to get his Devourer's Gauntlet up quicker than subfloor. That means he's going to be able to start stacking sooner and starts getting those peaks sooner.
Yeah, subfloor, he's got enough gold in hand to go back and get those Devourer's Gauntlets now, which he's going to do. He's an Apollo as well, so he can come back to lane relatively quickly. I think that duo lane matchup is going to be one to watch. Just Laney and Subfloor are generally seen as the best ADCs in the region, and realistically, a lot of these matchups are going to be between the players that are considered the best in the region, and that's why these two teams are considered the best in the region. They just have the players to enable them to be that dominant.
The problem with the Avant Garde, though, is that the early wave clear, the early game for Avant Garde is going to be a little bit more passive. Geb and Apollo both have to farm up, just try and get a little foothold, whereas Sylvanas can kind of, make his own game.
Exactly right, and the healing from Sylvanas as well is going to enable Direwolves to get through some of those early team fights where they might not have all the protections online that they might like. Whereas the Geb shield is kind of a one god skill. You can only shield one person at a time. Sylvanas can heal up his whole team if he needs to.
Yeah, Sylvanas really, those healings are just so potent. Even late game lets you just siege up those towers, siege up those objectives. Whereas Geb, he's more of a reaction god. You know, there's a through space and time coming towards my teammate. I need to shield him off. Fenrir is grabbed in with the Ragnarok. I need to cleanse him so he can get out. Whereas Sylvanas is kind of like, if we step out of line, if we get hurt a little bit, it's okay. We'll wait a moment. We'll be fine.
Let's take a look at the wardage going on at the moment. We can see Dials have got the duo side warded up pretty defensively. Nothing really too aggressive there. By contrast, Avant Garde have got the aggressive path to the solo lane warded up very nicely. It's going to enable Ro to get through there and get some ganks onto Yada if he desires. Although that might not be the best target considering he can just bring himself back to life.
The Scarab's Blessing is just absolutely potent. You have to really be careful when you do it and where you do it, because if you're obviously waiting for someone to get low enough to the point where they're going to die in the next hit, someone's got to crowd control you. It always happens. But the way that that you can use the Scarab's Blessing as the buff is really going to be important to see just what Dials can really crack up.
Chuckles was forced to burn his and jump away there, as well as base, as some nice aggression comes out from Avant Garde around the Gold Fury. They are warding that up now. That's going to be the objective that they're looking for next after these mid camps. If they can get a pick or two, this should be the site of a fight if Avant can find a blink in here with Sporks. It is off cooldown as well as his Cataclysm. Looks like they're just going to head back towards mid lane. Chuckles isn't with him, so Avant's got a 3-2 advantage here. Do you think they're looking for anything right now, Timmy?
They could be, but they have to be careful not to give up too much right now, because it is 1-1 at the moment. It is, you know, if you give the other team too much of a lead, it's going to end up snowballing. And neither Direwolves or Avant Garde really want that. They want this game to go their way so they can take this out.
Take a look at the wards in the mid lane at this. Both teams have got just a normal ward right out the side of the front mid lane tower. That's just going to allow them to spot out a couple of those rotations moving either way, where the other team just passes out the front of the tower. Back goes Richard Castle here, and as well as the duo lane of Avant Garde. Both teams a bit passive here at the start. Other than that fight in the mid lane, haven't really seen too many engagements.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of engagements. Avant Garde have got a very late game team composition, whereas Direwolves also has a little bit of a late game. The Fenrir is going to be a bit more of an early game spike to try and get themselves a little bit of an advantage. But other than that, not a huge amount of early game potential.
We got a little bit of a pause here, but let's go ahead and take a look towards our itemization. Both of our supports, exactly the same build at this point in the game. Watches, Gifts, Traveler Shoes, and Iron Mail. That's almost certainly going into a sovereignty for both of those guys. The Traveler Shoes, I really like it. The Geb enables him to get to late game a little bit quicker than if he went Mark of the Vanguard, giving him some extra gold off jungle camps and minions. And the Traveler Shoes, anytime he uses an ability that hits an enemy god, it's going to give him an extra bit of gold there. The Sylvanas, I like it on as well. I think this is a really, really great support start at the moment, no matter who you go on. But it really, whether you pick that or the Mark of the Vanguard, really depends on your opposition support number.
Yeah, it really does. Sylvanas doesn't quite need the Traveler Shoes as much for that healing factor as he has the Wisp. However, it does allow him to get around to lane faster. He can catch up to Spox if he starts rotating before him. And the extra gold is good as well, but Sylvanas does well if he has a full kit. We're talking Sovereignty, Half-World, Lotus Crown. He becomes a very strong team-based god.
Oh, look, here comes a gold figure from Avant Garde. They've seen Direwolves have gone to that speed buff. They're going to try and burn it down here quickly. No, it looks like they're just going to bait it, actually, as Richard Castle has spotted them out. They recognize that he is there, and they're probably going to look for a fight here and try and bait in the Direwolves if they can get Ro to rotate over in time. But for now, they're just going to back off.
Yeah, smart call for them. Like I said before, you can't allow the enemy team to get a little bit ahead. If you go for a risky play like a Gold Fury, especially early on, it can be very dangerous if it goes south. But it's, very much, when do you call the time when it's time for that risk reward versus reward sort of thing, when you make that decision of we're going to go in.
Speaking of shot calling, that's going to be something that's really interesting to see out of Avant today, considering that Biggie, who's their captain and shot caller, isn't playing. Will the same level of tactics that we've come to know and love from Avant-Garde still be there, or will Direwolves be able to take advantage of that lack of leadership maybe on Avant?
Sporks, I don't think there's going to be a problem with communication. Spork's been playing with Avant-Garde for a very long time now, so they know how to speak with each other. However, it's going to be how he engages, how he positions himself, how he uses the crowd control. This is really going to put down to the point, you know, is he going to be able to pull this out for Avant-Garde? And I've got hopes for him.
Yep, so we're going to take a short break here. Some technical difficulties, folks. Really sorry about that, and we'll be right back after this short break. Let me know if I'm looking. Am I looking all right?
Yep.
Hey guys, so sorry about that small glitch. We're going to be bringing you right back into the action very, very shortly. Something out of our control, unfortunately. But, Timmy, let's talk about the game so far, and let's talk about this Khepri Mystical Mail.
Yeah, Khepri Mystical Mail, it makes sense because when you use the abduct, you grab forward, you launch forward, and you grab someone and start pulling them back. That whole time, you can have the Mystical Mail proccing onto them, dealing damage over time, as well as the fact that the Rising Dawn applies a tick damage that lasts for quite a while and has a lot of ticks, so there's a lot of damage coming at you, which he doesn't really have to actively put onto you.
That's really, really important, but I feel like because he's already doing magical damage, only good at solo is going to be building magic protection already. It's not going to be doing as much damage, say, if he was like a tier with the Mystical Mail, when his opposite number would be building physical protection. We can even see only good at solo going into the Emerald Talisman, has got the Emerald Talisman going into
the Stone of Gaia.
Stone of Gaia. I lost my mind there for a second. Let's take a look towards these junglers now as well. We can see both of them have completed boots. We've got the blink onto Fenrir. Now, that's something I don't typically see. What about you, Timmy? What do you think of that?
Blink Fenrir, I haven't really seen it all that much, but it makes sense. Gives a god that has so much mobility, even more mobility, as well as the fact that he can blink in, use the Ragnarok, grow to massive proportions, and just grab someone as opposed to having to jump in, biting them, and then, you know, just all that. Because if they do use speeds, or if they do get hit by the Stone Shield from Geb, it will cleanse him, and if he uses all of his mobility to get in, he's not going to be able to get out.
So a bit of a kind of safety net for him there.
Yeah.
Not much else to talk about really in terms of itemization. Both teams going very standard routes in terms of what they're building. Mid laners both going for the pen boots. We saw last week Crazy Aussie went for the cooldown boots on Janus and still output the most damage in the game. He's using the unstable vortex of cooldown, using the portals as well to get his teammates out of trouble early and often. I really like the pen boots though for the extra mana and also for the penetration.
Yeah, the penetration does allow him to do a lot of damage, but you gotta remember, the threshold allows you to take increased damage from his abilities, and if he walks over the threshold or through a portal, then he'll have the passages passive, a lot of peace there, and you'll be able to do even more damage on your next ability.
Let's take a look as well now at our supports. Nothing's changed there from the last time we looked. Both have got blink for those blink in initiations. Just really just great for both supports. Like, it's exactly what they need to be doing. Blinking in, using ultimate, setting up the team fights, especially on the side of Direwolves, because realistically, they don't have that much other team fight initiation. Yada's only got the Abduct, which is one person. El Chuckles has got the Ragnarok, which is a single target ability as well. So they really need Richard Castle to be getting perfect Wrath of Terrors to set them up for team fights. We're back in the game now, folks, and we can see we're back taking a look at our mid lane. This is going to be the site of our aggression next, I believe.
Yeah, the mid lane generally sees a lot of aggression coming out, just because it's somewhere in the middle of the map where everyone can get to, is where everyone comes to regularly, especially for those mid camps early on. So a lot of traffic going through that way, so it's going to be important for both teams to keep their wattage up.
Especially with Saket, who can go invisible with the ambush, just leap over the wall and take out your mid laner. Kikyo Mio, he tends to be the member of Direwolves that's picked on, because Chuckles is pretty untouchable in the jungle. It's very hard to pick on a jungler. Yada is just difficult to kill on any god. Like, it's crazy how difficult he is to kill. And
plus, he's playing Khepri.
And like, Just Lane is usually over in the duo lane by himself. Kikyo Mio, right in the middle of the map, great target for everyone. We saw Invidious relentlessly pick on him when they had the Odin and he was on Isis. He had no escapes. They just jumped in on him, used the Odin cage, and that was where all the aggression was started from. And I have a feeling that's going to be Avant's game plan in this one.
It's also very good to try and find someone who you can pick on easily. So someone who is generally, you know, a bit more vulnerable, a bit more accessible. You chip away at them, and then in turn you'll chip away at the enemy team, make them weaker.
Oh, Rowe uses the last breath onto Just Laney. He's going to take some damage under the tower. Nothing really going to be forced out of Just Laney. There's the through space of time, though, for Kiki O'Meara. Richard Castle is here as well. Doesn't manage to pull in Rowe. There's a stone shield as well. Down from Spock. Subfloor has come over back to his lane, but it looks like that was a wasted ultimate from Kiki O'Meara, who's going to retreat back towards the mid lane now.
Yeah, back towards the mid lane. Just a little bit of safety there. Just get out of dodge. And, you know, just try and group back up with his team.
Oh, but now a Cheetah's the target of the aggression, and Chuckles is to pick up the kill onto him here. Avant Garde, the rest of them rotate over a little bit late. That was fantastic play from Chuckles, who recognized the rotations out of Avant Garde and chose his spot very carefully.
Yeah, Avant Garde, you know, they're starting to, you know, lose a little bit of that grip. 2 kills going to their Direwolves. However, it's not going to be all that much enough. Words for Direwolves to just try and, you know, steamroll through Avant Garde. We can see a Gold Fury attempt. Oh, actually, Blink Wrath of Terror coming out on the 3 people.
Yeah, that's going to be really huge for Direwolves. They're looking right here since Ochita isn't around. Richard Castle pulls in subfloor. Great Cataclysm, though, from Sporks. There is the Resurrect from Yada onto Chuckles. That saved him there. Just Laney gets a kill onto Spork. Oh, great portal there from Kiki O'Meara. Picks up a kill onto Only Good at Solo. This is a tremendous fight for the Direwolves, and they should be able to pick up this Gold Fury for free.
Gold Fury going towards Direwolves. That's going to give them that advantage that they need. 4 kills up, you know, opposed to 1. This is going to allow them to start snowballing a little bit earlier. Our Chuckles has been doing work with that Fenrir early on, just really trying to pave the way for his team. Now they need to try and farm up even more, get more of an advantage, and get into this late stage of the game as quickly as possible, where all the gods that they have chosen are going to be very strong.
If Direwolves keep pressing this advantage, though, that they have early on with the Sylvanas as opposed to the Geb, it's going to be extremely difficult for Avant to get back into this one. We know that the current meta situates more towards late game, but if they can... Just Laney got another kill there. If he can get really fed, he can hyper carry Direwolves late.
Just Laney, yeah, Shibalonke, just if you feed him, get that passive up, as well as give him enough items, he's going to be able to really steamroll over everyone, just with so much power.
We can see he's already up an level compared to Subfloor, who's actually just picked up a balance blade there, so not too much gold disparity. It's sitting at about 600 between those two players, and if we actually check it between the teams now, we can see that it's a 4,000 XP difference in favor of Direwolves, 3,000 gold also in favor of Direwolves. There's actually a through space of time over towards the solo lane from Kiki O'Meara, looking for something there towards Only Good at Solo, portals him through the ground. There's an unstable vortex, not going to do terribly much, as he does have a Stone of Gaia online to deal with Yada, but there is El Chuckles jumping in onto Only Good at Solo, uses the Judgment Tether, nice Stone Shield there from Sporks. Richard Castle doesn't quite manage to land the pull, so some wasted aggression there from Direwolves. Great play there from Sporks and Only Good at Solo, forcing some abilities out of Direwolves.
Yeah, Direwolves, very lucky for them that they didn't manage to really find anything there, but a great play from Avant Garde, just trying to prevent everything.
Basically what they did there was they forced out the space and time, and then just a couple of other abilities from Direwolves. But the main thing there was the through space and time, which is not going to allow Direwolves to get across to the duo lane in case there's any more aggression there. However, the Gold Fury is down, so it's not going to really matter as much.
Yeah, Gold Fury down does allow everyone to try and roam around a little bit more, that no one's really bound to the fact that, you know, if we rotate over, they could sneak away the Gold Fury. So a lot more rotations, a lot more aggression, even especially towards the solo lane.
The Yada and Only Good at Solo just seeing it out there a little bit. Very funny to see a dead man and a big beetle fighting each other there. Something I never thought I would see in my life. El Chuckles has rotated over now. I'm not sure if he's been spotted out by a ward. There isn't one on the aggressive side here, but Only Good at Solo. Gonna see him here. His passive is fully stacked as well, so he's going to be taking a lot less damage from that Fenrir than another solo laner might.
Yeah, Osiris gets so much damage mitigation, especially from physical gods, just really allows him to keep on going and going during those fights. It makes a little bit more sense that a Capri is going to be facing an Osiris. However, like you said earlier on, that mystical male is going to fall away a little bit because that Stone of Gaia is just going to prevent a lot of that damage from coming through, as well as a lot of regeneration.
Just at the left-hand side mid-camps there, that was a smart play there from Avant Garde. They placed down a normal ward onto a spot. They knew they had that Direwolves had a sentry ward, and Direwolves, they kind of took the bait there. They killed the ward while Avant Garde was able to take the mid-camps for free.
Yeah, mid-camp's going away for free. You don't really want that, especially when you prevent the enemy team from getting a look on the timers, just so that way you can try and prevent as much as possible from them getting future ones.
Ro blinked into there onto Just Laney, used the last and a couple of other Cobra's kisses as well. Laney gets extremely low, but just barely manages to get out alive. Subfloor wasn't able to do much because Laney had chunked him down just prior to that fight.
Yeah, just Laney, he's going along okay. He's getting a little bit focused out here because he is starting to get higher and higher up. They need to try and shut him down as quickly as possible. Otherwise, he's just going to absolutely snowball out of control. Already 2 stacks on the passive, that's plus 10 power he's getting out of thin air. As well as the Ichor really chunking down Subfloor, stealing away his power and giving it to himself. It's going to be fairly dangerous for Avant Garde if he gets out of control.
And it was a smart play by Laney as well, not necking, just moving back towards his tower, not really, you know, like turning around trying to fight. You know, recognizing he was alive. Oh my goodness, look, Direwolf stole away that purple buff there as well. That's some pretty good play coming out of DW right at this moment.
Yeah, Direwolf, they want to try and get Just Laney as big as possible. A Xbalanque with a lot of power, a lot of gold, and a lot of kills is something to be reckoned with. He'll definitely be able to box out Subfloor, and when we get into those later stages of the game, in those team fights, there's going to be damage flying out of everywhere.
We could see a three-man grouping of Direwolves in the left lane, going to be looking towards the Gold Fury again at this point, it looks like. I don't know. I think Avant can contest this. Ochita is coming up. He does have the circle of protections now. We've just hit the 19-minute mark as we're looking towards this one. 1 Gold Fury already going the way of Direwolves. This is where Oceanic teams like to fight, is around this Gold Fury. They still prioritize it a little bit higher than other regions.
The Fire Giant is just a little bit too risky. It's too large, it takes too much time to take down. And the fact that if you end up throwing something, if you end up having a bad initiation and the enemy team gets it, like, that's just the worst thing you can do. A Gold Fury, yes, it's bad if you give it up, but it is recoverable.
You can see Avant now look towards that Gold Fury. Rose hiding behind a wall, looking to maybe get something onto Just Laney, but there is a Khepri with the Scarab's Blessing up and ready to go. Sporks blinks in there, only Cataclysms. Yada takes a fair bit of damage there. Spirit Wall goes through the wall and hits Kikyo. Nothing much, though, coming off the back of that. That Cataclysm only hit one person, not really enough to set up a fight. Richard Castle is looking for an initiation at this point because Direwolves really want to force the fight.
I'm just kind of wondering whether or not Direwolves have enough burst power. Oh, actually, Rough and Terror coming out, pinned to people. Ochita is going to get focused down, but the Circle Protection is going to do great things for his team. Ochita falling the way to Just Laney, however. Yeah,
Just Laney gets taken extremely low. He does have the Scarab's Blessing on him, though. Avant smartly leaving him until that runs out. The rest of Direwolves here had to clean up on the back line. Only good at solo, forced to use the Lord of the Afterlife to get out. Ro as well is forced out of the fight. Chuckles leaps in. There's a Stone Shield from Sporks onto Only good at solo. Subfloor gets a nice Mesmerize there to stop the aggression from Direwolves, who are heading back towards the Gold Fury. But here comes Ro again.
Roach going in there, trying to find something with the Cobra's Kiss, however, not going to be enough. Direwolves going back to this Gold Fury, and they're looking to start it. Avant Garde are holding their heels.
Yeah, and now they're only good at solo is with full health. He used the teleport in towards. They're going to be able to fight this one. There is the Across the Skies from Subfloor. Portal through the wall, but Just Laney is the target of Avant Garde's aggression. Only good at solo. Going to be chunking him down there with his sickles. Down goes one. Subfloor picks up another kill onto El Chuckles. And now Richard Castle and Yada are forced to contend with Avant Garde. Kikyo portals through the backline to get himself out of there. And this looks like the Gold Fury is going to go the way of Avant Garde. Only good at solo, zoning out 2 people at once.
Yeah, Direwolves kind of, you know, dropping the ball a little bit there. They shouldn't have tried to go for that Gold Fury. Yada trying to look for that steal, but nothing gonna come of it as Avant Garde do secure it. But they didn't really have the precision. They were just not safe enough to try and go for that Gold Fury.
Kikyo tried to snipe it through the wall there with his through space and time. It managed to get it, however. Avant Garde gonna pick that one up, and that's what they need to get back into this one. Get some kills, get a Gold Fury. If we take a look at our graphs, the lead has shrunk to a 580 XP lead for Direwolves, 1,000 gold difference. A far cry from where they were a couple of minutes ago. And now Yada is by himself in the mid lane. Richard Castle is coming in here, gonna heal up his teammates. Great blink in there from Sporks with the Cataclysm. Circle protection is down, and Yada uses the Scarab's Blessing on himself to stay out of there, but that is what Avant Garde were looking for, forcing that out for the next team fight.
Forcing out the Scarab's Blessing is going to be huge for them. It means that now our Chuckles isn't going to be able to go in there absolutely ham. Just Laney, if he goes down, he's going down for good. As well as the fact that Richard Castle has enough healing as it is. They don't want someone being resurrected on top of that. It's just something you have to bait out.
Now Direwolf's going to dive. That the one mid tower going to take it down. That will be our first tower of the game. Looking like they're rotating towards this solo lane now. Richard Castle, Yada together there with Kiki Amiro. Chuckle's going to take a mid camp by himself. Laney going to go back to the duo lane, get some more farm, get himself heading along towards the late game as fast as possible. He does have 3 kills, 3 Gibalanke passive stacks. We like to mention that here in OCE. Any chance we get. There's an across the skies though from subfloor into the solo lane. Rogue gets a kill onto Kiki Amiro. Sporks is picked up by El Chuckles. He can't shield himself, but it is a 5-man grouping from Avant here. And if they want to, they can dive this tower, but they're going to pick up the kill and just get out safely. It looks like no, they're looking for some more aggression.
They're looking for this tower. They can burn it down a lot faster than just Laney can, who is split pushing on the left-hand side. Avant-Garde either have to go back and defend that left-hand side or push as hard as possible on this right-hand side. Just try and base race Direwolves.
I don't think it's going to be a base race. Going to give up a tier 2 for a tier 2, and that's all right. Subfloor could go back. He doesn't have his across the skies available, but considering it's a 5v3, they can do it safely with a 4v3. But now they're looking for some aggression here. Circle of Protection was put down, as well as the Darkest of Nights here. They take the tier 2 tower and are gonna back away here. That was some smart play there from Avant. Now only got a solo. There we go. Teleport into the tower, defends the tier 2. That was some very smart play there from Avant-Garde.
So now that was 100% worth. Just Laney wasn't able to get that tier 2 tower, so that was in favor of Avant-Garde. They lost the tier 1 on the left-hand side, but hey, it's only a tier 1. That's only 100 gold per player for Direwolves, and a little bit of map presence on that left-hand side. It just means now is that it's going to be able to, that Just Lane's going to be able to rotate around a little bit more, look for these fights in the mid lane. And if Subfloor falls behind at any point for whatever reason, he can stay close to that tier 2 tower and farm up fairly safely.
Look what Subfloor's done. He's gone for double lifesteal with the Devoure's Gauntlets and RC combo. Ooh. It's also going to give him some extra attack speed and penetration. This is going to be tremendous for him in teamfights, because unlike Direwolves, the only heal that comes out of Avant-Garde is going to be a cheater's circle protection, which is not something you can rely on regularly. It means he's going to be able to box Just Laney a lot better, and it means in teamfights he's going to be almost unkillable. We can see towards the mid lane now a big grouping. El Chuckles jumps in onto Ochita, who tries to silence him. There is the Cobra's Kiss. Sorry, not the Cobra's Kiss. Oh no, it was the Cobra's Kiss from Row onto El Chuckles to stop the aggression there. So some good work there from Avant-Garde. Nothing going to come of it at this point.
And now look at this. Subfloor is on the left-hand side. He says, hey, I saw what Just Lane is going to do. Let me try that as well. I'm an Apollo. I've got across the skies. I can do this better than a Gibalanke. I'll show you how it's done.
And you said it exactly right there, Jimmy. He can do it better than a Gibalanke can, because any aggression that comes his way, I'm out of there. If a team fight happens, I'm in it. That across the skies ability is so potent. Richard Castle blinks in under the tier 2 in the mid lane. Circle of Protections popped by Ochita. He through space and time, doesn't manage to hit anyone. Circle of Protections is full, heals up everyone Avant to almost full. Only good at solo is the only one relatively lacking in health, but there was a great Cataclysm there from Sporks. El Chuckles is relatively low here. Spirit Ball connects with Laney and Kikio Mio, who look like they're going to be the targets here. Sporks takes a lot of poke damage there, and both teams going to back off at this point.
A big thing was that at the beginning of that fight, Only Good Solo used the Law of the Afterlife to strip away all of the healing that Direwolves could have received. So from that moment, they just started going down and down and down, and Ochita with a great circle of protection keeping everyone up. That is what allowed them to really push them back out.
And the whole time that fight was going down, Timmy,
tier 2!
The floor was split pushing. Down goes the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, tier 2 tower is gonna fall. That is worth pretty much like a God of Fury before the changes coming out. And speaking of which, Avant-Garde are gonna be looking to try and take one away here.
Yeah, they can effectively take this one away with Only Good at Solo pressuring the mid-tier 2. They need to get by him to really find anything here, and then Osiris is something that's really difficult to get by. Yada is coming around, he's kind of figured out what's going on here. The gold tree is very low. Avant-Garde take that one with relatively no trouble. Through space and time connects with Subfloor, who's picked up by El Chuckles. Row goes down there to Yada, but I don't know if Direwolf's going to find anything from here. Only Good at Solo forced to use his beads, and now Chuckle uses the Brutalizer. great Spirit Ball from Ochita to keep him in place. Only good at solo under his tier 2 tower. At this point, the root doesn't connect from Yada, and the tier 2 tower should be the target here for Direwolves, but there's a circle of protection from Ochita.
Circle possession coming up. That's gonna allow Avant to really hold down the fort. Just keep Direwolves out.
And there was a great Cataclysm in there from Sporks to stop the aggression. Combined with the Spirit Ball, Ochita, I think he's hit 100% of them like all season long. It's very, very hard to hit effective ones. Like it's alright to hit one or two gods with them, but to be able to hit, one god with it, but to be able to hit more than one is a really, really tremendous skill to have, to be able to judge it and put it right where it's needed, and it's such a tremendous force in stopping aggression. Only got a solo, jumps in there with the Lord of the Afterlife now, and this is where Avant want to fight.
Avant do have the lead at the moment. They are getting quite far ahead, as well as the fact that they are starting to get more into this late game sort of standing. Our Chuckles is going to fall off a little bit. Yada not going to be able to do all that much damage anymore as the Capri. Going to be more of that supporty sort of role. Not a whole lot he's going to be able to do. Or the only person really coming into the backlines, really trying to break them up, is going to be Rogue.
Yeah, and Chuckles falling down there. That little bit of aggression. Only got a solo. Teleports in. Is he looking for something here against maybe Richard Castle or Kiki and Mio? Kiki and Mio's through space and time was used there. There's the Judgment Tethers. Portals through the wall, but now Yada's looking for something here. No, they're just going to back away here. Direwolves wisely recognizing they can't find here. And now the lead, if we take a look at our graphs, has swung in the favor of Avant-Garde. 3,800 XP, sorry, make that 4,000, and 3,700 gold going their way. That is a lead for Avant-Garde, and they typically don't give those up. That was a portal and a half there from Kiki Mio to get Yada out of trouble there. He did have his Scarab's Blessing on him, but that was a great portal. He just disappeared through the wall.
The Scarab's Blessing is actually on cooldown at the moment. He had to use that at some point. And actually Fire Giant coming out there. Everyone get your screenshots ready and submit them for that Sandboxer, because if this falls, this is going to be the one that you're going to have to submit.
And now Richard Castle blinks in there with a Wrath of Terror. Very nice work. Circle Protection takes down El Chuckles. This fight is going the way of Avant-Garde at this point. Kiki Mio blinks through the backline. The Unstable Vortex just barely misses Ochita, as does Ochita's Spirit Ball sub 4. Going to take down these mid-camps, just some extra XP, some lifesteal for him as well. Portal through the floor, Row dashed through it before he could actually go through the floor. That's some tremendous play there out of the jungler of Avant-Garde. And now, of course, Ochita and Only Good at Solo caught between the Direwolves here, but gonna back out here. Direwolves, they shouldn't be looking to fight here. Richard Castle gets taken a bit low. Can he make it through the portal? Spirit Ball stops him, but after that one leaves, he is able to get out of dodge. Here goes the Tier 1 mid tower.
Tier 1 tower is finally going to fall. This is going to allow Avant-Garde to move around a bit more freely around this Fire Giant area, as well as take away some of Direwolves' safe ground, some of their safe haven. And they're going to be looking to try and grasp onto this Tier 2 here. Try and take that one down as well. Push their gold lead even further.
Yeah, and they should be. They do it there pretty freely. Really much in the way of resistance coming out of Direwolves. They're just not at the point where they can do it. One thing I want to take a look at Direwolves, got 3 Mail of Renewals, which recently received a buff where you gain 20% of your maximum health and mana over the next 5 seconds when you get a kill or an assist. So it just means that if one person on the team gets a kill in a team fight, 3 of them are going to be healing up 20% of health and mana.
Not only that, but it will also proc when you kill an objective. So Gold Fury and Fire Giant are going to proc that, and if there are multiple procs, it will refresh the duration, so they'll be healing up as fights going on once people start falling down. And like you said, it got buffed. It's the things that it is giving, the regeneration, the cooldown reduction. It's made it a lot more stronger and a little bit more viable now.
And now we see another Fire Giant started up from Avant-Garde. It's the Darkest of Nights coming out from Just Laney. Direwolves need to get in here and stop this one. If Avant-Garde get this, they're going to be able to make a push straight down the right-hand side. Phoenix, Kiki Mio uses the through space and time to get into the fight. There's a Blink Cataclysm from Sporks onto Yada. Not really much damage taken from him there. Now Subfloor's gone up into the sky looking for something onto El Chuckles. Not going to find it at this point. Laney going to be trying to chunk down Only Got a Solo, who has got his passive on full. This fight's a little bit messy for Direwolves at this point. They don't really have the start that they wanted to. Circle of Protection popped by a cheater at this point, and that's going to deny it for securing the Fire Giant.
Direwolves are pushing Avant-Garde out of this Fire Giant area at the moment, actually. They're trying to gain the ground advantage, try and really force the hand of Avant-Garde, which is a little bit strange. Avant-Garde are very far ahead at the moment, very strong with their team presence as well.
And now Dyer was looking to start up the Fire Giant here. This is just bait, I suspect. They can't reasonably burn through this and think that they're going to get away with it. Only Good at Solos in there, just whacking people with his sickles. Spirit Ball doesn't hit anyone. Now Dyer was looking to get something here, but they take a fair bit of damage from the Fire Giant. Only Good at Solo got the Judgment Tethers. Gonna stun out Yada here. Ro jumps in onto El Chuckles, who uses the Ragnarok. Portal through the ground is a cheater. Ro taken very low. There's the through space of time. Kiki Omiro picks up a nice kill onto Ro there with the snipe. Lord of the Afterlife used by Only Good at Solo, trying to take down Just Laney, who gets hit by a nice Spirit Ball from Ochita. He needs to get out of here, and that's going to be a lot of Direwolves damage taken away at this point. Avant chasing Direwolves at this point, even in a 4v5 situation.
Avant-Garde just really coming up off the better against Direwolves, even though they are behind kills. Kills aren't everything, just remember that. And they're just taking further and further down, losing their ground, and they don't want to do that right here as the Fire Giant is still up for contention.
Oh, Kiki and Mio got out there with a nice Spirit Ball from Ochita, who uses a Circle of Protection again. Just Laney's gonna fall here in a second. Oh, there's the Scarab's Blessing, which revives him as Subfloor Blink comes in through from across the skies. And now Subfloor dashes forward with Ochita, looking to get some damage here onto Laney, but they stun Yada instead, who goes down to Subfloor. Nice Blink Cataclysm again from Spork. He's been on point with those this game. Laney again the target at the aggression. The Wing Gust gonna do a lot of damage there, but it is not going to be enough. Avant, though, gonna take this right-hand side Phoenix relatively unresisted here. Only Good at Solo, just keeping everyone on Direwolves out. El Chuckles takes so much damage there from the Spirit Ball. Ochita has been putting out a tremendous amount of damage. They don't get the right-hand side Phoenix to Avant-Garde, but they might be able to regroup and take this Fire Giant.
They may be able to, however, they don't have the Sylvanas, they don't have the healing that they need. Circle Protection is down at the moment, and like you said, it's not quite that reliable heal that you're looking for in between team fights for that sieging sort of thing. If we look at player damage at the moment, we can actually see that Kiki Omio is topping the charts at the moment, outputting so much damage with his Giannis. And we can see that Ochita, although he is hitting a lot of Spirit Balls, a lot of great Spirit Balls, as well as Wing Gust, he is number 4 on the list after Only Good at Solo.
Looks like Dial was going to stop their blue buff here. Avant still hanging around this Fire Giant, going to start up here looking for a little bit of a bait. Ochita is across in the left lane getting his red buff. So it's just going to be a little bit of kind of footsies here, just dancing back and forth, see who's going to go for it, who's not going to go for it. You know, high school kids at a dance, no one's really sure who's going to make the first move. But when that first move is made, fireworks are going to happen.
Yeah, that first move is often the little slip of the liquor into the punch bowl, and then all of a sudden, everything goes crazy.
I don't know what dances you've been to, Timmy. Avant going to start up the Fire Giant here. This is going to be the fight that I think will determine the game. If Avant can get it, that will probably end it in their favor. If Direwolves can get it, that'll be the start of the comeback that they'll probably need to get back into this one, which is strange to say considering they were up ahead so much so early. Oh, Chuckles, all his aggression is just nullified there as the Silence, the Mesmerize, and the Spirit Ball come out. Rowe picks up the kill onto him there. Circle Protection is down. Subfloor's gone across the sky. Spirit Ball hits 2 members of Direwolves. Subfloor's got another kill, and now Richard Castle's the target of the aggression by Rowe, but now they're swinging around to Just Laney and Kiki Amio. Spork shields himself. Laney picks up a kill there. He's doing really, really nice work for Direwolves, but the healing coming out from Subfloor is tremendous. The double lifesteal is amazing. Kiki Amio just barely gets through the wall, but Only Good at Solo might pick him up here. The sickle just barely misses. Laney's in trouble. Spirit Ball picks him up. Run! Richard Castle needs to get out here. Kiki Amio hanging around the blue buff. He's amazed he's still alive, but he's at the back camps now. He's going to get out alive as Avant-Garde are looking for bigger things, namely the Tree Man in Richard Castle.
Richard Castle is going to go down very low here. Avant-Garde just pushing up relentlessly. They've got the control. They've got the team fights. They've got the grounds to fight.
And now this should be the Fire Giant. Kiki Amio, though, does have his through space and time up in 3 seconds, Unstable Vortex in 4. So he's going to be able to use those to steal them if he can get the timing right. Ochita, he has got Circle of Protections up in now. Kiki Amio takes a lot of damage there, though, from Ochita. Those Spirit Balls have been amazing from him. Chuckles is here as well. Circle Protection goes down. Ball 2. Will it go the way of Avant-Garde? It does. Kiki Amio uses it through space and time. Just a little bit late. Gets through the portal, but Subfloor gets the kill onto Chuckles, who's been picked on so much by Avant-Garde this game for that Fenrir pick.
Yeah, Fenrir he does very well early on. However, if he doesn't get big enough at a later stage, his damage does fall off. He does have to build into a bit more of a tanky, bruisery sort of build. The only protection that he has at the moment is the Mail of Renewal. Other than that, a lot of penetration, so he's still looking to output damage. However, if we look at our damage graphs here, we can actually see that El Chocos is fairly low to the bottom, number 3. He needs to be more of a frontliner for his team. Richard Castle, he's trying his hardest. He's got a lot of good Wrath of Terrors coming in. Yada's looking at the backline, trying to protect everyone. El Chocos just really needs to get in there and start mauling at people.
It's really hard for Direwolves to put damage once either Just Laney or Kiki and Mio are gone, though, because essentially Yada's playing a second tank, and same with El Chuckles. Like, he's not able to put out enough damage. Avant-Garde going to start up the Gold Fury on the left-hand side. But what Direwolves need to do, essentially, is they've got 3 Mails of Renewal online. They need to just get 1 kill and then keep fighting from there. So maybe focusing someone is the idea. Sublore is going to be hard to kill, though, because of that double lifesteal. Ochita should be the target of their aggression. Again, though, he's going to be heavily protected by his team as Avant-Garde look to push down this left-hand side Phoenix now, in preparation for a future Fire Giant.
Yeah, it's very important. If they get this left-hand side Phoenix, it's the furthest one away from the Fire Giant. They've got the Fire Giant buff at the moment, and they're trying to make as much use out of it. You take out that left-hand side, and then Direwolves are going to have to babysit there, or send someone over there to babysit. And when that next Fire Giant comes up, everyone's going to be broken up, all chiseled away, separated.
Wrath of Terror there from Richard Castle. Ochita circle protects and kills Chuckles while he was in the mouth of him in the Ragnarok. Road taken a bit low here, but the shell is popped. They take down the left-hand side Phoenix. Middle Phoenix is going to be their new target here. Sublore is just chunking down these objectives. I really like that RC pickup from him. It's doing tremendous work for him. Great Cataclysm there for Sporks as Portal through the ground, though he's only good at solo and subfloor. Middle Phoenix goes down for Direwolves. They are in dire straits at this point.
Yeah, they may not be looking for this right-hand side Phoenix, just a little bit too much greed. They are fairly up and healthy at the moment, but they're going to go ahead and scout through this jungle, just try and take away as much as possible from Direwolves as they try and pick up the pieces of that 2 Phoenix lost there. Try and keep those 5 minutes pushed up as far as possible so they don't have to worry about them when the next team fight happens.
It's going to be extremely difficult for Direwolves to defend the next Fire Giant when it comes up. If it even gets to that stage, Avant-Garde may look to push down the right-hand side and just capitalize on the Fire Giant that they already have. Direwolves, I really don't see how they can come back into this one. Chuckles at this point is essentially jumping in and, you know, taking a Spirit Ball and dying, and that's all he's really affecting from the side of Avant-Garde. They're not even bothering to use beads on the Ragnarok anymore.
Yeah, they do have the Stone Shield to allow people to try and pop out of the maw of the beast that is our Chuckles. However, if we take a quick look at our graphs, we can see that Avant-Garde are almost 3,000 XP up, as well as almost 12,000 gold up. So they are very far ahead. And everyone except for everyone except for Sporks is level 20.
What's going to need to happen for Direwolves is they need to get Laney able to do damage, but he's just being focused away by Only Good at Solo, who knows exactly what his job is, which is to disrupt the damage from Direwolves, which essentially is Laney and Kiki and Mio. Considering his passive, where he doesn't take any physical damage, or he takes mitigated physical damage, it's going to be really hard for Laney. Oh my goodness, that Spirit Ball onto Chuckles and Laney did just half health them. They're essentially... They're pretty much out of this fight at this point. Chuckles, anyway, has gone back. There's the Darkest of Nights there from Just Laney. Only Good at Solo, taking a lot of damage there from Kiki and Mio, but they do manage to take down the right-hand Phoenix. Ochita gets a kill onto Kiki and Mio with the Circle of Protection. Scarab's Blessing is onto Richard Castle, who's forced to back away anyway at this point. Chuckles is going away at this point as well, and that is all of the Phoenixes from Direwolves down. Avant going to look for this Giant now.
Fire Giant is coming up here. Less than a minute, the Fire Giant buff has decayed off of them, so they have just left Direwolves in ruins. 3 Phoenixes down. They gonna have to split up their entire team just so that Titan doesn't fall to Winions. And they're gonna be able to take this Fire Giant pretty much for free, unless Kikyo Mio might be able to come in with a snipe. However, he is not gonna be able to respawn in time before the Fire Giants.
Yeah, Fire Giant spawning in 3 seconds. Guillermo not up for another 25 seconds. Avant-Garde certainly has the damage to burst through it in that time. Subfloor maybe even be able to do it himself with this double lifesteal build. We have mentioned several times before, the rest of the team is going to help him though. They're not going to make him do it by himself, just being safe. And that's how Avant like to play. They like to get the lead and just push you from there. Once you give Avant a lead, it is very, very difficult to regain it off them. And with the early lead Direwolves had, that was exactly what they needed to do. Get the early aggression down, put Avant behind, and then be relentless on them from there. Basically out Avant. But they weren't able to do that. A costly couple of mistakes around the Gold Fury was what really tipped this one in Avant's favor.
Yeah, Avant-Garde, they focus so much on the map control, just try and snowball, be as aggressive as possible, smothering out the opponent when they have the advantage, when Avant-Garde have the advantage, so it's very hard to try and come back from it. As we can see, 3 Phoenixes down, the left and middle one are going to be coming up soon. That's going to be the next point of contention for Avant-Garde. They're going to be looking to try and cripple down Direwolves for even longer, and then perhaps go for the jugular.
Ochida's actually picked up a Magi's thing. That's how he doesn't need any more damage than what he's already doing.
No.
He's doing so much damage with this Isis, and he's got a Magi's Blessing. How does that work?
Magi's Blessing really allows him to just continue going, just be uninterrupted. The Rov Tahuti as well as the Soul Reaver is just so much power for him, just so much damage coming out. He doesn't need any more.
Left-hand side, Phoenix falls. Middle one goes down as well. This looks to be the death knell for the Direwolves here. Avant-Garde gonna push in under the Titan at this point. It's gonna take a tremendous defense from Direwolves to really take this one out. Circle of protection popped by Ochida there, right onto the Titan, and oh my goodness, it disappeared.
It disappeared. Where'd it go? There's so much single target damage coming out from Avant-Garde. They're just able to take down Gold Furies, Fire Giants, the Titan itself. Just didn't stand a chance, unfortunately. Direwolves, they just really didn't have enough power. They had a lot of control, they had a lot of team-fight presence with the protections and the crowd control and the peeling, but they just didn't have the damage coming out of it. Once Kiki and just Laney just got wiped out, they got targeted too hard.
I didn't even see the die. Like, it was just like that. It was gone. Let's take a look at some of our stats here at the end of this one. Kiki Omiya will finish with top player damage at 39k, followed closely by Ochida at 34k. The damage was real. Look at wards from Avant as well. 14, 10, 19, 12, 14.
Everyone in the double digits. Everyone in the entire game
even in Direwolves
had
as
double
well.
digits. Yeah, there's so much vision coming out there. Everyone wanted to know where everyone else was. That's very important. However, Avant-Garde, they had the advantage of that because they could push up so much further. They could be so much more aggressive. They could get into those little nooks and crannies that Direwolves just couldn't reach or didn't want to go too far in fear of their own lives.
I think picks and bans a big role in this game.
Direwolves just didn't have damage.
Yeah,
they didn't have the damage.
Yeah, Yada likes to do a damagey solo landers. Like we mentioned, how he likes to play that Ao Kuang. I mean, even Osiris is one of his favorite picks, and he manages to make that do a lot of damage, even when being fairly frontline. And that was the trouble there, is that Yada, who's typically one of their hyper carries, wasn't able to play a hyper carry. Chuckles as well, who can carry the team very nicely, wasn't carrying. He was being focused out a lot in the team fights, and that left Laney and Kiki Omiya very vulnerable. And I think Avant-Garde realized that and pushed their advantage from that one very well. That's going to do us for game number 1, though. We're going to take a short break and be right back with the picks and bans of game number 2.